and add the minced meat. Someone may be asking, why didn't she add cooking oil? Sometimes this minced meat has a lot of water, and when you put it on the pan, it will produce the water, and if it has oil, it means it will suck up all the oil and you'll end up using all the oil. So I prefer us putting the minced meat on the pan first. Yeah, so so with this minced meat you can use minced meat, minced chicken, minced beef, minced pork. I think minced pork will taste better. So now we are going to fry until the water is out, because if you don't do that, remember I told us if you add oil first, the oil is going to be sucked up by the minced meat. So you don't need to see that, like you don't need to use a lot of oil. You also have to consider the fact that the people you're serving have to live a healthy life. And as you can see, the water is starting to come out of the minced meat. And remember, sometimes this minced meat is from the fridge. So can we see the water? Yes, the water is starting to come out. And if you had put the oil, it means it was going to mix in this water. So at this point, I add in garlic, because I want this water to suck up the garlic and I don't want the garlic to get burnt. So I add in my ginger and my garlic, so that by the time the water dries out, it is already mixed in the minced meat and it's like everywhere. So that's why I add in garlic and ginger at this point. I don't want to add it when the water is done or when the water has dried out. I want to add it in when this meat is still like this red, the water is coming out. So yeah, so here's the garlic and the ginger. I don't put in a lot of ginger because it will be so spicy, so I prefer putting in a little bit. Ooh. So let me add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add a little bit of salt because I usually prefer adding this salt, then later I will be able to I'll be able to add in more salt if the salt I've added is not enough. But this will be good. And you can tell the water is now drying out and starting to sizzle. If you don't take oil, you may not actually add the cooking oil at this point. You just proceed and add your tomatoes and onions. But if you take oil, at this point we add the cooking oil. We're adding a little bit of the cooking oil. Now we are going to add in the onions. I love onions. Remember, use a little bit of cooking oil because I know that most of the things I'm going to use have oil. For example, the cheese has oil, so I don't want our minced meat to be so oily. So you leave the onion to turn to golden brown. When it turns to golden brown, we add in the blended tomatoes. Yeah. So I'll add in the blended tomato. It would be better if the tomatoes were cooked the previous day. It would give you a better taste. Yeah. So you cook the tomatoes with a bit of carrot. Why do I put in carrot? Yeah, I put in carrot to create a sweet taste. And then why would I put in tomato paste? As you can see, it hasn't given me a very good looking color, and I need it to be colorful. Remember, when the food is attractive, people will eat. Like, people will want to eat that food because it is attractive. Then we have our mushrooms. Our mushrooms, which I'm adding into the sauce. I'll spare some for another meal. I don't want them to be so many in our dish. fry the onions, the garlic, the ginger. We've added the mushrooms, the tomatoes, and my sauce is beginning to dry out, meaning if it begins to dry out, I'll add in some water. Don't fear to say, oh, won't this water be too much in the sauce? No, you put in a little bit because you don't want the food to dry up. I have my dish, so we add in a little bit of water because it's drying out. That's why I'm adding in a little bit of water, but we don't want it to be so dry. You want it to be moist. So I've added in a little bit of water. Now we are going to add a very little bit of dark soy sauce because I want a good color. So we add a little bit of soy sauce. Remember, we are using dark soy sauce for color. Yeah? A little bit. A little. Because I only need it for color, not even for flavor, but color. Now we are going to add a little salt. Then I have thyme, one of those herbs, but I will show us what thyme is, the dried thyme. I'm adding in a little bit of carrots, green pepper, but you can even do away with the green pepper depending on what you want. At this point I can even eat it like this, but I'll add in curry powder. I use Mandra's curry powder, and when you use Mandra's curry powder, use a little bit because it will be so concentrated. So that is enough. You don't want to serve people with lots of spices. I have a bit of black pepper. Since it is beef, I'll add a little bit of black pepper. I want it to be a bit sweet, so I'm adding in ketchup. I'm using Zesta. Zesta can be found in supermarkets, in the market. You don't have to get Zesta, but Zesta is affordable. Like you can get a tin at 6,000. Yes. I mix in. The sauce already looks nice. Our minced meat really looks so moist. We are adding in a little bit of cheese to make it moist, and we are using mozzarella cheese, the one they use on pizzas. See? Then we are adding a little bit of the rice, because remember, this is the leftover rice. If you have leftover rice, like yesterday you ate and you have a balance, leftover rice is better than the fresh rice for this particular recipe. You don't want to put in a lot of rice. When you put in a lot of rice, ooh, it will not taste nicely. As you can see, ooh, the rice looks good. And I'm thinking we need to make it a bit moist. If you have stock, you add it in. If you don't have stock, you can add in a little bit of water to make it more moist, because now I think it is too thick. So we need to add in a little bit of water. I have some water that I mixed with a little bit of ketchup because I didn't want to add plain water. So we add in a little bit of water to make it moist. Wow, the rice looks good. And when we add in a little bit of water here, then we are going to add in a little bit of barbecue sauce, a little, to give it a sweet taste and color. And sprinkle more cheese, a little bit more cheese. Yes, so perfect. This is good on its own, it can actually be enjoyed on its own. I can see people near me are feasting. So we have our rice, which is ready. Remember, you want it moist, you don't want it to be so dry. You can serve it like this and you're good to go. But for today, we are going to stuff it in the bell peppers like I mentioned earlier. So our rice is good as good. The babies can actually enjoy this. The children who don't like eating can enjoy it because it feels like it is so cheesy. I'm adding in a little bit more cheese. Remember our bell peppers, they are now ready. You see, a bit soft. They are a bit soft and a little bit brown. So we pour out the water. The covers are here, softened a bit. Now, one will say, I see as if they are the same. This and this is way different because the one from the oven is a bit more soft. So don't overcook the bell peppers. Now it's time for us to stuff them. And I have my spoon. We stuff the first one, the red one. And you don't want to remove it off the fire, because when you remove it off the fire, the cheese will cool and it will take long to actually heat. Because when we take it to the oven, we don't want it to, I don't want my food to spill. Remember, we put in some cheese, so you don't want the food. Oh, look at the cheese. Wow. I like how the cheese comes out. So I stuff the bell pepper, the red one. Oh, sorry. Careful. Perfect. Now, we need to add our cheese. And we are using mozzarella cheese. But I have these cookie cutters, which can be got from discount center, the supermarket. Discount center is in Chikuvo. I want the cheese to stay on top without spilling. You want your food to be smart at home. Yes, so I remove. Okay, let me add more cheese, a little bit more. And then take out my cutter. Perfect. So there I have my 3 bell peppers, the green, the yellow, the red. Let's remove the covers because the covers are ready. We don't need to overcook them now. We shall put this to the oven. We take this to the oven until it turns golden brown. Remember, I don't want to tell us about the temperature because at this point the oven is still very hot. Like, remember when we put the peppers first in the oven, now we are going to increase the temperature to about 200 degrees Celsius, and we put this in the oven for about 5 minutes. But if you're not timing, you can actually do it and check on it to see has it turned to golden brown or not. If it turns to golden brown, then you take it out. So let's go to the oven. Now it is ready. As you can see, it's golden brown, like I told us, golden brown. And we're going to transfer it to a plate of food where we'll serve our guests, or where you will serve your guests. So our food is ready and it looks so nice. The green, when we check on the green, we have the golden brown with the cheese, and the yellow is also doing awesome. So I'm going to transfer this to the plate and show you how you can easily serve it, or if we can have all the three, why not? So for now, we shall cut out the yellow pepper to see how the yellow pepper looks like on the inside, and you will enjoy the breakfast with your family and friends. Okay, so we transferred the yellow pepper out. To our side plates, depending on the plate that you are using. And so remember, we cut out our cover, and it is here. So while you're serving the guest, it can still be on top. And then when the guest is done, or when you're done serving the guest, as you can see, we have our yellow pepper, and I'm going to cut it so we can see what is on the inside, or how the guest will be enjoying. Oh wow, the cheese. Remember, we talked about putting it in the oven to soften. Now this is the point where you get to know that, oh, it was already soft. Wow. And the cheese looks yummy. So this can actually be enough for breakfast and for a meal. So when it is cut out, let's remove this. But you can see the cheese. You can use any type of cheese, but I prefer mozzarella because mozzarella is good with pizzas and it will also be stretching. Perfect. Let me test. Wow. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you try it out with your family and friends, and when they enjoy the breakfast, remember to give us a feedback, and we'll be ready to give you comments and answer to your questions. Thank you very much. See you next time.